Imagine this. You're alone, paddling across a dark, silent lake in the dead of night. The world around you is still. The only sound is the soft splash of your paddle cutting through the water. But then, without warning, something grabs it. Something unseen, something lurking beneath the surface, something that wants to pull you down into the depths. What do you do when the darkness beneath you reaches out and makes contact? Welcome to Sinister Stories, where we bring you real-life accounts of the terrifying and unexplainable. Tonight's story will send chills down your spine. It's a first-hand experience of fear that no one could have prepared for. In this chilling tale, the protagonist finds himself facing the kind of terror that lives in the deepest recesses of the mind, a primal fear of the unknown. You see, this isn't just a story. It's an encounter that has haunted someone for years. The memory of that night has never left him, and after hearing this, it may never leave you either. This is the story of a man who went out on a calm lake, but what he found was far from peaceful. Before we dive into the full terror of what happened, if you enjoy content like this, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with friends who enjoy true tales of the supernatural. Your support helps us keep bringing you these terrifying stories from the shadows. Now take a deep breath, dim the lights, and prepare yourself, because the darkness can hold far more than you could ever imagine. This story isn't for the faint of heart. The lake was serene, the air cool, the water so still it looked like glass. But beneath that glassy surface, something stirred, something ancient, something waiting. Our protagonist had no idea what was about to happen. None of us ever do when we stumble upon the unknown. But when the unseen reaches out, it's too late to run. The setting of this story is not just a backdrop. It's a living, breathing part of the terror. Imagine an isolated lake, miles away from any town or road, hidden deep within a dense, ancient forest. The trees, gnarled and twisted, seem to watch your every move, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers in the night. The only light comes from a sliver of a moon, barely breaking through the thick fog that clings to the surface of the water. Everything is unnervingly still, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and makes your heart pound harder in your chest. It feels as though the entire world has gone quiet, holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The lake itself is a vast, black mirror, reflecting the little light that pierces through the fog. It seems endless, its shores lost in the darkness, its depths unknowable. The air is cold, biting at your skin, carrying with it a dampness that seeps into your bones. And yet, despite the cold, there's a strange, oppressive heaviness in the air, a weight that makes every breath feel labored. You're completely alone here. No sounds of wildlife, no distant hum of civilization. Just you, the water, and the unsettling sense that something is watching from just beyond the shadows. As you push your small boat into the water, the quiet splash of the paddle feels out of place, like it's disrupting something sacred, something that has been still for far too long. With each stroke, you drift further into the center of the lake, away from the shore, into the heart of the darkness. The trees fade from view, swallowed by the mist, and all that's left is the inky black water below and the endless sky above. But even in the vast emptiness, you can't shake the feeling that you're not alone, that something is moving beneath the surface, something that's been waiting in the depths for someone like you to wander too far. This lake, once a place of calm and solitude, now feels like a trap. The water, so smooth and still, hides its true nature. Beneath that surface lies something dark and ancient, something that does not belong in this world. The very air around you feels thick with unseen eyes, as though the trees, the water, the night itself, are all watching. Every stroke of the paddle takes you deeper into the unknown, closer to whatever is hiding beneath the surface. The silence grows heavier, the tension thickening with each passing moment. The lake has secrets, and tonight, it will reveal them to you. At first, it's the quiet that unsettles you. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel right, where even the wind seems to have died down. It's as if the world itself is holding its breath. As you continue to paddle, the sound of the water rippling feels too loud, almost intrusive, like you're disturbing something ancient and forgotten. Then, it begins, the first subtle signs that something is wrong. You feel it before you hear it, a strange sensation prickling at the back of your neck, as if unseen eyes are tracking your every movement. The hairs on your arms rise, and a cold chill runs down your spine. It's a sensation that is impossible to ignore, as if the very air around you has grown heavier, more oppressive. The first sound you notice is a faint splash, too far away to be natural, too deliberate. You pause, heart pounding, straining to hear it again, but the silence returns, more suffocating than before. You convince yourself it was just a fish, maybe a branch falling into the water. But deep down, you know something isn't right. Then, the paddle in your hand feels strange, almost as if it's moving against your will, the water gripping it in a way that defies logic. You tug at it, and for a moment, it seems stuck, like something beneath the surface is holding onto it. The boat sways gently, but the paddle doesn't budge. You pull harder, and finally, it breaks free with a jerk, sending ripples across the glassy surface of the lake. But the ripples don't stop. Instead of fading into calm, they grow, multiplying unnaturally, as if something large is moving just beneath the surface. The water begins to shift and stir, the once calm lake now bubbling with movement you cannot see. Your pulse quickens, and a deep sense of dread takes root in your gut. You try to shake it off, telling yourself it's just the current. But the stillness of the night contradicts you, and the feeling of being watched intensifies. It's as though the lake itself is alive, aware of your presence, and it's slowly beginning to react to your intrusion. Then you hear it, a low, guttural sound, almost like a groan, echoing from somewhere deep below the water. It's faint at first, barely noticeable, but as it grows louder, you realize it's coming from directly beneath your boat. The realization sends a bolt of fear through your chest. You glance around, but the fog is thick, the shore no longer visible, and you're completely alone, adrift in a sea of darkness. The surface of the water shudders again, this time closer, and you feel the paddle tugged once more. This time, it's deliberate, forceful. Whatever is beneath the water is strong, and it's not letting go. You pull harder, heart racing, but the resistance increases, as if something beneath the surface has wrapped itself around the paddle, refusing to release it. Panic sets in as you pull with all your strength, finally yanking the paddle free with a violent splash. You sit there, frozen, gripping the paddle tightly, staring into the dark water, waiting for the next move. But nothing happens. The water is still again calm, almost mocking in its tranquility. But you know better now. Something is down there, lurking just beneath the surface, watching, waiting for you to make your next move. And you can't shake the feeling that it's not done with you yet. The weight of the paddle in your hands feels heavier now, as if it's carrying more than just water on its surface. Your heart pounds against your chest, the rhythmic beat drowned out by the oppressive silence of the lake. You know something isn't right. Every instinct tells you to leave, to turn the boat around and paddle back to shore as fast as you can. But there's a pull, an insidious curiosity gnawing at the edges of your mind, whispering to you to stay, to investigate, to understand what just happened. It's the kind of curiosity that fights against your survival instincts, a battle between the rational mind and the deep-seated fear of the unknown. You sit there, frozen in place, staring into the dark water that now seems to stretch on forever. The surface is calm again, but you can't shake the feeling that something beneath it is waiting, watching. The cold air bites at your skin, but it's the chill of fear that makes you shiver. Do you dare lean over the edge of the boat and peer into the depths, or do you turn and paddle for shore, knowing that whatever grabbed your paddle might not be finished with you yet? The water reflects the night sky like a black mirror, but beneath it, something stirs. The internal conflict builds. You tell yourself it was nothing, maybe just a stray current, or a fish larger than usual. But deep down, you know that explanation doesn't hold. No fish could tug with such force. No current could have moved with that deliberate pull. Your mind races through possibilities, each one more terrifying than the last. What if it wasn't a creature at all? What if something supernatural lurks beneath these waters? Something that defies logic and reason. You glance around, searching for any sign of movement, but the fog is thick, and the shore is a distant memory, swallowed by the night. A decision has to be made. You grip the paddle tighter, feeling the cold plastic beneath your fingers. Your knuckles whiten as you debate your next move. The silence around you feels alive, almost as if the lake itself is holding its breath, waiting to see what you'll do. Part of you wants to flee, to get out of this cursed water and never look back. But another part, the part that's always searched for answers in the face of fear, wants to know more. What was it that tugged on your paddle? What lies beneath the surface of this seemingly endless lake? The mystery gnaws at you, pulling you deeper into its dark embrace. Finally, you make your choice. Your muscles tense as you prepare to lean over the edge of the boat, heart pounding, breath shallow. You peer into the water, eyes straining to see past the reflection of the moonlight. The depths are black, impenetrable, hiding whatever might be lurking down there. For a moment, all is still. Too still. The anticipation builds, your pulse thundering in your ears as you wait, your mind conjuring images of what could be down there. The choice to stay, to face the unknown, feels reckless, but the pull of the mystery is too strong to resist. The lake seems to hold its secrets close, unwilling to reveal anything just yet. You take a deep breath, adrenaline surging through your veins. And then a ripple. The ripple starts small, barely noticeable at first, just a slight disturbance in the glassy surface of the water. But then it grows, spreading out in perfect, concentric circles that reach the sides of your boat, gently rocking it. Your breath catches in your throat as the air grows colder, a chill far more biting than the night air should allow. Something is coming, and you can feel it. An unseen force moving beneath the surface, inching closer with every second. Your grip tightens on the paddle, knuckles white, your heart pounding so loud it drowns out everything else. The ripple moves steadily toward the boat, and then it stops. For a moment, there is nothing, just the unbearable silence and the weight of your own fear. The water becomes still again, unnaturally calm, as if it's holding its breath. But you know better. You can feel the presence, even if you can't see it. Your instincts scream at you to get out, to paddle away and never look back, but you're frozen, paralyzed by the anticipation of what's to come. Then, without warning, something rises from the depths. A shadow emerges beneath the surface, dark, shapeless, but undeniably there. It's massive, moving slowly just beneath the boat, its form distorted by the water. You lean over the edge, your breath catching in your throat as the shadow takes shape, but it's impossible to fully understand what you're seeing. It's not an animal. It's not human. It's something else entirely, something that doesn't belong in this world. The weight of its presence presses down on you, and a primal fear seizes your chest. Suddenly, the boat jolts violently, nearly throwing you into the water. The paddle slips from your hand, and for a split second, you're certain you're going overboard. You grab the edge of the boat, heart racing, eyes wide with terror as you look into the dark water. The shadow is gone, vanished as quickly as it appeared, but the boat continues to sway, as if something underneath is still there, still moving. Then, the sound begins, a low, deep rumble, almost like a growl, vibrating through the water and into your bones. You freeze, every muscle tense, as the boat is rocked again, this time more forcefully. The growling grows louder, reverberating through the air, filling your ears with a sound that feels ancient, unnatural. You stare into the water, but there's nothing now, just the dark, endless expanse of the lake. But you know it's still there, hiding beneath the surface, waiting. And then the paddle, still floating next to the boat, begins to move again, slowly being pulled toward the depths. Your eyes widen in horror as you watch the paddle disappear beneath the water, as if something has taken hold of it again. You reach for it, but hesitate. Whatever is down there, it's stronger than you. It wants something from you, and you're not sure if you're prepared to give it. The boat rocks once more, a final, violent shake that sends water splashing over the sides, and you know, this is no ordinary creature, no trick of the mind. This is something supernatural, something beyond the realm of reason or understanding. In a moment of pure, blinding panic, you grab the paddle and pull with all your strength. The resistance is immediate and intense, like pulling against a force that wants to drag you into the abyss. Your muscles strain, adrenaline pumping through your veins, but the pull is relentless. You feel the cold grip of fear tightening around your chest as the water churns, something unseen thrashing beneath the surface. Then, with a final, desperate heave, you wrench the paddle free. The moment it leaves the water, everything stops. The boat is still, the lake calm once more, as if nothing had ever happened. But you know the truth. You've seen what lies beneath the surface, and it's not finished with you. The silence after the struggle is deafening. The lake is calm once again, almost unnaturally so, as if the water itself is mocking you, pretending that nothing just happened. But you know what you saw, what you felt. Your hands tremble on the paddle, the cold sweat of terror clinging to your skin. Every muscle in your body is tense, waiting for the next move, waiting for whatever lurks beneath to reveal itself fully. The darkness around you feels oppressive now, closing in, the fog thickening, making it impossible to see more than a few feet in any direction. You are alone, surrounded by water that hides something far more sinister than you ever imagined. And then, out of nowhere, you feel it, a cold, icy grip around your ankle. Your breath catches in your throat as the sensation of something wet and cold wraps around your leg, pulling you toward the edge of the boat. You look down, hard hammering in your chest, but there's nothing visible, just the inky black water lapping at the side of the boat. But the grip tightens, pulling with an unnatural strength. You kick and thrash, panic flooding your system as you try to free yourself. But the unseen force is relentless, determined to drag you into the depths. As you struggle, your mind races, and a horrifying realization begins to form. Whatever is down there, it's not just an animal or some strange creature. No, this is something far older, something far worse. This lake, this body of water, is cursed, haunted by an ancient force that has been waiting for someone like you, someone to fall into its trap. The pull on your leg grows stronger, and you can feel the boat tipping dangerously toward the water. Your mind screams for you to let go of everything and run, but there's nowhere to run. You're in the middle of the lake, isolated, with no one to hear your cries for help. And then, just as quickly as it started, the grip on your ankle releases. You tumble back into the boat, gasping for air, heart pounding so hard it feels like it's going to burst from your chest. You scramble to your feet, looking wildly around, but the water is still once again, the fog thick and suffocating. It's as if whatever grabbed you has retreated, disappearing into the black depths of the lake. But the terror is far from over. You realize in that chilling moment that it wasn't trying to pull you under to kill you. Not yet. It was toying with you, testing you, feeding on your fear. Suddenly, a memory floods your mind, something you read or heard once about this lake. Legends, maybe? Rumors about people disappearing here, boats found adrift with no one aboard, strange occurrences that were always explained away as accidents or coincidences. But now you know the truth. This lake is alive, or at least, something within it is. Something that's been lying in wait for centuries, drawing people in, feeding off their terror before dragging them into the abyss. The stories weren't just folklore. They were warnings, and you ignored them. The weight of that realization crushes you, and as the boat sways gently on the now still water, you understand that you're lucky to be alive, for now. But the fear won't leave you. It clings to you, a cold, suffocating presence that seeps into your bones. You glance down at the water, half expecting to see a pale hand reaching out again, but there's nothing. Just the dark, endless expanse of the lake. But you know it's not over. The lake has claimed others before, and it will claim again. As you sit there, breath ragged, body shaking, the fog begins to lift just slightly, revealing the distant shore. You grab the paddle with trembling hands, ready to escape this cursed place. But deep down, you know that you're marked now. The lake let you go, but it hasn't forgotten you. As you make your way back to shore, the realization strikes you like ice. You'll never forget this night, and the lake will never let you forget either. The next time you're near water, any water, you'll feel it, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for its chance to pull you under once more. You reach the shore, but the fear clings to you like the cold dampness in the air. Your legs are shaky as you drag the boat onto the rocky bank, the sound of the hull scraping against the pebbles strangely comforting. At least it's real. But the weight in your chest tells you that what you just encountered was far from over. The night is still dark, and the lake looms behind you, vast and silent, as though it's watching your every move. You can't bring yourself to look back. Something inside you whispers that if you do, you'll see it again. Whatever it was, waiting in the water, just below the surface, ready to strike the moment you dare turn your back. As you gather your things, you hear it. The subtle, almost imperceptible sound of water moving, a gentle ripple disturbing the stillness. Your pulse quickens. It's not over. You know it. The lake is alive with something ancient and malevolent, and even though you've escaped for now, it hasn't let go of you. The sound grows louder, as though something large is moving just beneath the surface, and you freeze in place, heart pounding in your chest, blood roaring in your ears. You glance toward the water, just for a moment, and what you see sends ice through your veins. The surface of the lake, once still and glassy, is disturbed, rippling in a wide, slow circle, as though something massive is swimming just below. The moonlight glints off the shifting waves, and for a moment, you see it, a shape dark and immense, moving beneath the water. It's far too large to be any ordinary creature. You stare, mesmerized and horrified, unable to move, as the water swirls unnaturally. And then, just as quickly as it began, the rippling stops. The lake returns to its eerie calm, the surface smooth once more, as though nothing had ever been there. But you know better. You've seen it. You've felt its presence. Your hands tremble as you finish packing up, throwing everything into the back of your car with clumsy haste. The feeling of being watched is overwhelming now, as though the lake itself is alive, and its gaze is locked onto you. As you slam the trunk shut and fumble with the car keys, you can't shake the sensation that something is just beneath the water, waiting for you to make a mistake, to step too close again. You glance one last time at the lake, half expecting to see something rising from its depths, but the water remains still, deceptively peaceful. You climb into your car, heart racing, and start the engine. The headlights cut through the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows across the trees. As you drive away, the lake fades into the distance, but the sense of dread doesn't leave you. In fact, it grows stronger the further you go. The realization that you've survived doesn't bring any comfort. Instead, it fills you with a deeper fear, because you know now that this was no ordinary encounter. This lake, this thing beneath the surface, wasn't finished with you. It let you go, but not because you escaped. You think back to the stories you heard, whispers about people who vanished near this place, boats found adrift with no one inside. You dismissed them before, but now the truth weighs heavy on you. The lake takes what it wants, when it wants. And tonight, it took something from you, your sense of safety, your peace of mind. As the road winds away from the forest, you can't help but feel that it's not over. The lake knows you now, and part of you knows that one day, it might come for you again. The journey back home feels longer than usual, the night pressing in on all sides, the memory of what happened replaying in your mind over and over. You try to convince yourself it was just an overactive imagination, but the grip around your ankle, the pull on the paddle, the shape beneath the water. Those are not things you can explain away. You'll never be able to forget that night. Every time you see water, whether it's a calm lake, a flowing river, or even a quiet pond, you'll remember the pull, the force, and the feeling that something is watching you from beneath. And you'll always wonder if it's waiting for you. Days pass, but the memory of that night on the lake refuses to fade. It lingers like a shadow at the edge of your mind, creeping into your thoughts when you least expect it. You try to go about your daily life, returning to routine, but the world feels different now. Darker, more dangerous. Every time you close your eyes, you see it again. The still, black water, the unnatural ripple, the cold grip around your ankle. No matter how much you try to shake it off, the fear has settled deep within you, altering your perception of reality. You avoid lakes, ponds, even pools now. The thought of being near water sends chills down your spine, as though you can feel the presence of that thing lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to pull you under. The grip around your leg, so cold and tangible, haunts your every step. Sometimes late at night, when the world is quiet, you swear you can still feel it. The phantom sensation of something wrapping around your ankle, squeezing, dragging you toward the abyss. It's irrational, you tell yourself, but the fear doesn't care about logic. People notice the change in you. Friends, family. They ask what's wrong, why you've become so distant, so on edge. You can't tell them. How could they understand? They'd laugh it off, or worse, think you've lost your mind. So you keep the experience to yourself, a secret that festers, growing darker with each passing day. You avoid conversations about lakes or camping trips, and when someone suggests a day out by the water, you find an excuse, any excuse, to stay as far away as possible. The lake has left its mark on you, an invisible scar that no one else can see. But it's not just the memory of that night that weighs on you. It's the realization that something is fundamentally wrong with the world. You've glimpsed a side of reality that most people never see, a darkness that hides in plain sight. The lake was just one example. What other things, you wonder, are out there, lurking beneath the surface of our everyday lives, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? The idea is maddening, and you find yourself unable to shake the feeling that something is always watching, just out of sight, hidden in the shadows of the world we think we know. And then, one night, the nightmares begin. They start innocently enough. Dreams of dark water, of being lost on the lake, your boat drifting aimlessly through the fog. But soon, the dreams become more vivid, more terrifying. You feel the cold grip on your leg again, see the ripples forming around the boat, and in your dreams, you're not able to escape. The thing beneath the water pulls you down, into the depths, where the light of the moon fades, and all that's left is darkness. You wake up gasping, heart racing, drenched in sweat, but the terror doesn't leave with the morning light. It stays with you, gnawing at your sanity. You begin to wonder if the lake let you go at all. Maybe it's still with you, its influence spreading like a shadow, following you wherever you go. You can feel its presence now, even far from the water. It's in the quiet moments, in the stillness of the night, when the world is asleep and the dark stretches out endlessly. The lake didn't just let you go. It marked you, claimed you in a way that goes beyond physical space. And now, no matter where you are, no matter how far you run, you can't escape its reach. The realization is as cold as the water that night. You're not safe. You'll never be safe. The lake is patient. It doesn't need to rush. It has all the time in the world, and it knows that eventually you'll return. Whether it's by choice or by accident, whether it's days, months, or even years from now, you'll find yourself near water again. And when you do, it will be waiting. You can already feel its pull, faint but growing stronger with every passing day. The lake isn't just a place. It's a living thing, and it's claimed you as its own. Before we conclude, remember, these stories, these encounters with the unknown, are not as rare as you think. If you've ever felt a chill run down your spine near water, if you've ever had that sensation that something is lurking just beneath the surface, you might want to listen to your instincts. The water holds secrets, and sometimes those secrets reach out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the lake will come for you next? And don't forget to subscribe for more tales that venture into the deepest, darkest corners of fear and the unknown.